All right, hi folks, and welcome to stream number 3 of Alwa's NES Awakening. We'll be porting Alwa's Awakening to the NES. So last time we actually, we messed around with some bitmap files, and we got a ROM built. Let's see here. Get a bit more in here and messing. There we go. So forgot we already had it going here. We not too familiar with messing, but I'm learning it. So one thing that is definitely different that I noticed is, well, I said our palettes are messed up, but I think the palettes came over mostly how we planned them to, or told them to. I think it's mostly NES screen tool not exactly agreeing with what emulators and everything else say. I didn't actually put this guy on a cartridge yet and look at it, but shoot. Still getting organized on this new computer here. Anyway, so we had, of course, after I had all those problems with the bitmap format and everything, I had 5 different ideas on how to maybe make things work better. And I did get a little familiar with GIMP slightly. I can open things, and layers are still not something I can make full use of. I don't know exactly what I'm doing there, but know enough to get myself in trouble. We got the whole map here, and now we got our grid there. Grid is visible. And I was tinkering around, so I copy pasted platform into this bitmap and then exported it from GIMP, and so now we can do some file manipulation in GIMP, and GIMP has all these fancy features. So I found a NES palette online, and so here we actually have the palettes in GIMP, but this, and I'm sure I'm reinventing the wheel here to some degree, because there's lots of guys developing NES graphics and GIMP and all these other things, but keeping the color map into something we can easily convert over to CHR files. And the way I know how to do it probably isn't the way to do it, but it's just importing through NES screen tool. But part of me says the way to keep it easy is to really only use 4 colors, because the graphics palettes, or the pattern tables in the on the NES only have effectively 4 colors. And so I had some ideas of importing or converting everything to 4 colors only and doing some test imports. That's really all we want anyway. So I could play around with that a little bit here. So I'm going to open our project that we had. So screen 13, 313. Yeah, Ashman Shaku saying in some case I was redrawing 1 pixel at a time while looking at the image in GIMP with the grid. Yeah, and at least if one thing I'm thinking that might be possible is I can use GIMP if I can get the colors set right, the palettes to import properly. I can copy over into GIMP, and then I can use the paint can to change things. If I'm just going to do 3 shades, then I can use my paint can tool. That's not very fast. Anyway, so that works. Just checking my CPU processes here. This thing, it's an i7, relatively new with 16 gigs. So if this thing can't handle what I want to do on the regular, then I guess I'm going to be building something. Anyway, Mitch was saying we're starting to freeze a bit. Now it's fine. Yeah. I might close out Twitch on the laptop. I went ahead and left it open there. But that's one fewer thing that I need to be going on. Just gonna switch this over here quick. Okay. Yeah, if you have an i7, I don't think all the open tabs would be an issue compared to Celeron before. Yeah, and most times it's fine, but I think anytime my CPU hits 100%, then I'm dropping frames, and GIMP is pretty hefty, but I also have, well, I got tabs open, but it's not a memory issue. If anything, it's a processing issue. So, all right. So the idea that I kind of had was to copy over. I'm kind of starting over, but I kind of got 2 tasks going on right now. Figuring out the graphics conversion, importing everything, and then if I get frustrated and feel like I'm not getting anywhere with that, then I switch over to writing some code. So we'll give this a shot here. So my idea was, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to use GIMP to do this. So I like starting with a file that is background table, pattern table size. And so if we start with that, but let's clear everything out. Start fresh and then just test importing things of different colors to make sure we have a process that works for importing into NES Screen Tool, and then we'll get fancy and change. So everything should be black. Save it as a bitmap. We'll do 256 colors because that's a byte, and my hack is going to be using hex editor to just change, search and replace any color that we see that we want of one of the three or one of the four colors, 0 through 3. And so we'll so it's just a blank pattern table, 256 colors. And so to test this, we'll try our different shades of gray here. So black, dark gray, light gray, white. So we only have 3 colors here, and I'm not sure exactly the format on, it seems to just be a the bitmap format when it's only 256 colors might be a palette type towards it. It can use more than just what you can represent with 256 or with 1 byte, but you can only do 256 at a time, and it's saying one of those 256 colors. But import bitmap as a tile set. Okay, so that did not work. We lost our dark gray, and our light gray and white got converted to the color 0, I guess, or entry 3. Right, so it was entry 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's instead, elephants jumping around up there without school tomorrow. Let's leave white. Test blue. Save that guy. And re-import it. Okay. So we got two different colors now. Well, three. Still not getting that entry to 0, so let's do this instead. Let's look at it in. I feel kind of dumb doing it this way because I'm just at the mercy of NES screen tool. Okay, so we know that the first pixel is in the bottom left here. Because Simi's giving me a link, which I don't.
Got my cat.
No. Well, I can't see it in there. Or at least now I have chat open. Probably not doing too much. NES screen tool wants a palette arranged in a specific way by a program that lets you arrange the palette. I'm just going to paste this again so we can look at that. Okay, let's look at this. So screen tool doesn't use the picture itself to make the background. It uses the palette inside the image file, which is kind of what I was wondering about. So the palette of the image you uploaded is seen on the left. Every 4 colors are supposed to correspond with an NES background palette. The palettes are impossible to make your image. There's not even a universal color, so the NES screen tool doesn't do it very well. So set up the palette properly, having the white as the universal. Yeah, so we need to get the palette of the bitmap file to be comparable, to line up. So here he's doing that. Free software lets you arrange a palette is Gale. So Gale is supposed to let us do this. Gale pictures, Gale graphics, Gale. ICHR for an import instead. This looks like what he's saying. Just do the portable. Come on. Just looking to see. Yeah, so color table, I wonder if it's in there. Semi-optional. Yeah, colors in the color table. And I was noticing that, see, GIMP has this color map also. And so if we, I wonder if we basically use this, if we rearrange, if we make our own palette within GIMP, if that exports properly through the bitmap and gives us exactly what we want. Let's just go ahead and check this out quick and see. No, run it anyway. Okay. So let's load. Test this out. If it's not immediately obvious, then I might come back to it after I've spent some time with it. So this is just our test with our 4 dots. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Let's try this. Let's open up our test in GIMP. Why is it so? There it is. I wonder if I close these other layers of GIMP for now. So if this is our color map, what if we change them? Seriously? Yeah, to move color in Gale's palette, shift click and drag. To copy, control click and drag. Just gonna test this quick. So we're only using the first 4 indices of this color index. If this is actually and this color space information, I'm not sure what that is. Hey, look at that. we got our 3 colors. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So, or 4 colors. Anyway, 3 plus background. So we, in GIMP, use these first 4 indices. So black being background, which our current palette, yeah, it looks like it should work what you just did in GIMP. Yeah, so we'll select this palette. So entry 0 is going to be our first index. Entry 1, we painted it as red, which was the first index here, and we got it. And then entry 2, the light blue, was what we had as green, and then brown as our third entry. So we're going in the right direction here. What would be nice is we only having the, so we're going to see if we can change these. So we'll edit this color. Foster dog Daisy running around upstairs. All right, change this one to more of a, hey, look at this. Okay, so we can see our palettes. So we'll have a gray, those are going to be, I want them more distinct. I'm not confident. I might make it a slightly different shade. I think we can basically change this. There we go. Let's make it a little bit darker. Yeah, and that is white. Okay. So now at least, oh, and let's view our grid here. Why won't you move? Select this guy. Copy. Okay. So but what we select is these backgrounds. Hey, Naruko saying hi. How you doing? All right. If we select these, how we plan, and there's gonna be a better way to do this to some degree, but right now, as we convert these colors, and this still isn't necessarily how I wanted to do it, because I mean, it gets the job done, but to do things, we can copy, we can rip graphics and bring them in, and then now we have to change anything that color. And I think GIMP would be faster here. So I go through and manually paint these. And even if there's some quicker way to select all colors in GIMP. There, so we changed that. Really, it's the order of these palettes and the color map is what NES Screen Tool is paying attention to, and I mean, ultimately, regardless of what we're the end goal is displaying something in NES, so that has to happen. So these bricks, these gray bricks, gotta be somewhere in their preferences to see my grid. But so as we had it in here, the attribute tables, right? These bricks that are right below have to share. I think we mixed. I think our gray just wasn't exactly the same, but we're using this. Okay, that's what we did. We're using palette number 1 here. So we had a light gray, but when we drew it here, yeah, palette number 1, we had a tan, a medium brown, and then a dark gray. And then when we decided that when we came into the next screen that we were going to change the palette. Oh, we can see it here. See, we don't even necessarily always really want the grid. So the idea was, when we're in these screens, we have a palette that, for these little platforms with wooden, we're going to have 2 browns and a gray. Look something like this. And came out a little different in Alwa, or in the emulator, but I think that's closer. Anyway, we wanted a darker gray. I think the real difference is these 2 grays look similar in NES screen tool. Yeah. So we had these bricks using this first palette, including the background drywall area with a dark gray, medium gray, and then a dark brown. And then here we've got dark and then the browns, but these 2 grays are different. This is gray, this is color 0, where this is color 2D. And you can even look in yeah, they look kind of similar in GIMP too, but they don't in Messen. But anyway, there's no, if we change this gray, yeah, no, I think this is what we had going on, or what we want. Anyway, we need to decide the colors that which of the indices we want to use for our art here. So one thing I'm curious about, so what if we in here, let's just import this and make sure it's working. But go ahead and paint these bricks too. So we got dark gray. Yeah, I can't even see the difference there. I need to make sure it's not the same. So I change it to change it back. I think I'm going to go back. To my hex editor idea. But one quick thing, let's do this, because these are the first pixels in the bitmap file. Whoops. Let's change those first 4 pixels. Because if we could do this, okay. All right. So that's a GIMP format, but we need to export as, oh, I think there's a pre-selected option there. Export, do it. Okay. Spinning our wheels here. Let's go back to, I don't want to mess up. First thing we're going to do in that code is turn the music off. Okay. All right, so let's import the bitmap. Sweet. We moved the tiles around, but we were able to, so we've got something working. We can copy artwork from the native resolution picture that map that Eldon Pixels gave me. Copy them over here, and then we have to change them in the, have to change the color map, change the colors to match the first few indices of the color map. Now, my idea to have to sit here and paint bucket over the top of these colors to change them to the indices that I want, that's really just a byte inside the bitmap file. We just need to know which bytes we're looking for and which we're changing them to. So we did a little bit of this last time. Oh, no. Might not actually have it. Oh, we do. Okay. So let's open up. All right. And what did we decide last time? So we have a 32-bit file size, and then we have a file offset to pixel array. So I think it's here. The pixel array starts at 47A. Which would be right here, 47A, or here rather. So look at that, there we go. We have this, so these are those first 4 pixels. Starts in the bottom left, but here's pixel, the first pixel of the file is palette 0 of the bitmap, and up here I think the header section of the bitmap file is telling us, well, what RGB value is palette 0, and it's black, but to some degree it doesn't matter. We're just the pixel data of the bitmap file is just saying which palette number, which palette number, which palette number. If we can modify the bitmap in the hex editor, we can just change all of the, if we have palette, whenever we see palette number 57, change that to 1, 2, or 3. And here we probably have, so the next row is starting somewhere, palette number 1, which is our dark gray. And then we have a couple 2s showing up higher up in the bricks. And then we get into the wood, and we should have some 3s showing up. Somewhere. There we go. There's some 3s. Palette number 3. So my idea then let's change this to 32. Oh, and hopefully you guys can maybe see this a little better. I think previously, well, maybe it was just a recording, but it wasn't, the final recording wasn't 1080p. It was in, well, it wasn't 720 either. It was 960 or something like that. So this new computer's, well, it's not new, but best computer we've got. Is in a higher resolution, so hopefully these things are visible now. So what happens if we turn our grid back on? Is there a shortcut in GIMP for grid on off? I guess the real thing is to have 2 files open, but well, you can make shortcuts. Anyway. You just go view, new view. So it's the same file. Anyway, this is, there's a little GIMP video that I watched. I'll just show it to you guys if anybody wants to. I don't see it. Anyway, the guy that's doing the Pixel Art Academy has a quick little thing to get started. I'll try to remember to link it in the show notes on YouTube. So that was basically what got me to do able to do what I am doing, which isn't much, but it's enough. So what I'm want to test out here, let's start with this flat ladder. Copy it over. Oh, maybe it wants me to select this. What if I go like that? Oh, where'd the other one go? Yeah. Anyway. So we want to know what, when we export that to bitmap, which color is it gonna which index is it going to assign there? There's color picker tool. Okay, so if we use a color picker and you watch over here in our color map, it'll tell us which index it is. So if we pick 0, okay. If we pick this brown here, that's index 11. Okay. What about this gray? Okay, that's index 164. Oh, HTML notation. Hexadecimal. Oh, that's saying what color it is, not the index. Okay, so that's 164. This is index 7. Okay. So let's try this. I've got an idea what we're doing here now. Oh. I'm going to, so I'm not going to have 6 different ladders, and to some degree we might have the same effect just by having 1, 2, 3 and a bent one. How much is it to have? Anyway, this tile here is very similar to this one. The only difference is like 3 pixels here of this gray. No one's gonna, well, we'll know. But so that's one that's bent to the right, or the right side is bent up. And this one, the left side is bent up. Nope, that's the same thing. I must have messed something up. Copy. Paste. There we go. Yeah, I don't, there's something funky with my, I liked it better arranged like this. Because it's actually on the right, on the left, but anyway. So we got our 2 pieces to make a broken one. So let's save this project, but that's just a GIMP project, the same. So what we want to do is convert this brown into a different color. Let's open up a new session of NES screen tool. There's our 10 o'clock siren. Okay. Okay, right. So this ladder is part of the first palette. So the way we were thinking here, these two are same right now. Anyway, what we really want this to get this brown. So if we're having the brown as the, I don't know, I like arranging it to where the lightest color is index or entry 3, but that's not how we had it in our file. but just so I don't have to keep remembering everything. Let's just go ahead and change that. So we'll call the brown the darkest, except for the black, obviously. So what we want to change the browns to. So user, I guess we can just pick the color picker. These tools are so much more distinguishable when they have color. They're all fashion savvy, being all unicolor. Anyway, if we hit the control, we can pick the color. There's the picker. Okay, so I guess when you paste it, so I think that's part of my problem with GIMP is I paste it and then it's like on a different layer, and then when I exit out of that selection, it pushes them all down to the same layer. Anyway, just halfway learning GIMP as we go. So the picker, okay, so 11. So let's export this. I don't know if this is actually, just reopen it. So that, well, it's index 11. Oh, we can do integer number instead of hex values. So integer number 11. But the file, where the actual pixel dale starts at 47A. And we found an 11 right there, B, hex 11. And we have some more B's here. Some more B's here. Only thing I want to, so I should be able to put basically search cursor here. Search 11, just say forward. We don't want to change anything in the header. B. Where's search and replace? So we want to change it. Anytime we find it, we want to change it to 3. Search for 11, replace it with 3, data type integer number, any bandwidth, so this is an 8-bit byte. Prompt on replace. So let's just go ahead and do this manually now. See where all these are. Okay, that's it. Bunch of zeros. What is so the image data, there's some padding in there. And I don't know if there's like special data at the end of the file, we don't want to mess it up, but so let's save this as search and replace 11 replaced with 3. and go ahead and open it with paint here first. Okay, so it looks like it worked. Import. Okay, so those other tiles are messed up, or not tiles, but pixels are messed up, but we did what we wanted. So those white portions of the ladder, or not white, the brown portions of the ladder, we're trying to change them to 3, and I got mixed up. Really, I wanted them to be, yeah, see, that's the only problem with this is if you convert colors, don't get yourself mixed up, because you convert them to a color that's already in those first 3 indices, then converting them back with search and replace is no longer so easy. Anyway, we replaced them with 3, which was supposed to be the lightest. Color, and now there we are. Those parts got changed over just as we wanted them to. So we kind of have a, not that automatic, but it's relatively, it's a lot quicker than dotting all the little colors. But if we get the raw tiles into a bitmap, we can convert them just by search and replace, and maybe having a smarter tool that, you know, you input color number 11 and replace it with 3. Then we could do the entire map, or not map, but the entire area. So to some degree, we could start working on some of this. I kind of already did some of these things manually, but now that we've got a process somewhat defined, maybe we'll just go for it. So what all kinds of things do we have? I want to kind of keep them separated. It's fairly easy to move things around. If we want to move these tiles to a different area, we can do that, and we're not at the stage to where we have these. Well, we did it once, but it was just kind of to get started. We can move these around, or can maybe consider these banks of sort. But we have impassable objects, the bricks and the wood. We have background passable, like the drywall, trees and stuff like that. Then we have interactables, so ladder, we can climb up. These blocks here, we can break them. So I guess Those are our main, especially these bricks, they can disappear. So that's more in the name table, but I want to kind of keep those separated. So I'm not going to save that work we just did because we converted it to the wrong color, but we can start bringing some of these other things in. So let's do these bricks, and my idea is that if we get all the tiles that we need for an area into a background tile set, these colors should all be the same. It should be just one big search and replace, and we could, it's, you know, there may not be a point to have a tool if we've only got 8 different areas. Not such a big deal. So let's select two rows at a time. Let's put them here. Oh man. Oh, look at that. So I select it here and it shows up on this. I mean, it's the same file. It's just a different view. So we grabbed this guy. We had this standard block, and these 2 blocks are dang near the same. I'm just going to keep that signature there because it's somewhat easy. It makes it easy to find in the hex file for now, but it's easier to move. So these 2 things are dang near the same. But we'll just go ahead and copy over everything that we find and cut it if we don't want it. So we got broken bricks, and then we got 2 different broken bricks. This is a brown broken brick. Oh, I'm starting to realize we might have an issue here though, because when we convert these, thinking back to our attribute tables, we're like, oh, we want to convert the brown from this ladder to index 1, entry 1. That same brown shows up in like this broken brick, probably, or maybe we gotta watch out for this brown of this guy over here, this bustable brick. And so we convert it to a different index in the bitmap palette. That might not be the same index, so we gotta pay attention. We gotta kind of have a plan here of what we're doing and convert the files accordingly. And, you know, if we do want this little broken brick, then we might be changing the colors of it. I mean, we did that for even our wood little box, or our palette here that we're walking on. We needed to cut out one of the browns. Otherwise, if we didn't, then we had this situation going on. Never mind these mistakes in the attribute table here, but to where the bricks just look brown, we don't have any gray in there. And that didn't necessarily look good in the emulator. So part of me wonders if there's got to be a way to get this closer, but I think it's the indexes of these bricks would then have to be, oh gosh, okay. So yeah, we got to have a plan for these colors and the indices so that we can do this. Otherwise, it turns into a mess. So let's just start with the text file to try to Alright, so palette plan. Whoops. Sorry. Okay. So our main background it's got 3 different grays in general. We've got light gray of these bricks, this medium gray here, and then we've got a dark gray in this background here. But in this background, so we said these bricks are using a different palette because this background here with the wood has to have brown. But yeah, so some of the messing around we did with the backgrounds helped. I liked how this turned out, but I'm gonna figure out why palettes are wrong. So let's do this. We exported our screen 13.3. Let's just figure out what our problem was here, or why things look so different. We have these two different palettes. Let's stop. So the dungeon area, got a brick palette, we got a wall, beam palette, we've got a board, the planks, plank block palette, and then we said we needed our blue palette from the neighboring area, which had our white for the heads-up display. So we have our sky palette, and that one's well defined. That one's going to be these cyans. So we call these, so of course I have black, then we have color 1C and 2C. And then white is 3.0. Let's call it cyan. And white. Do I have Vim on this thing? Yeah. Okay. So that one's easy. We have our brick palette. Which really only needs two colors, but and the wall beam also includes includes a ladder. So the ladder kind of has all those colors. The wall background has a dark gray. So we need a brown, dark gray, and gray. Pick the color numbers for that. We have the so we have some gray here. We have a brown. We have a tan. And for the bricks, well, let's look at this here. We also have these bustable blocks. And this brown shows up in some of these broken bricks, even though it doesn't need to, but the question would be is, which palette would these, we're not going to be using sprites for these guys. At least I don't want to. What palette's that going to use? And so this has a dark brown and two other browns. It could be the same as the ladder. It's the same. And these, oh, wait a second. No? Yeah, we don't need that many. I don't think we need this brick palette. We got an extra palette. I mean, we'll take it, but that might be where some of our confusion is. Maybe I'm wrong here. Okay, so bustable blocks. Oh, well, I think part of what I wanted I don't want the dark, or I don't want the gray. We got three different shades of gray here. We have dark gray, a medium, and a light. And so if we used a different palette, and the ladder could use those same three shades. So if we wanted more shades of gray, NES doesn't have a whole lot to offer. So we've got 2D, I'll stop that. 2D, 0, 3D, and 10. So we've got 4 grays. I think this 2-0 looks like a gray also. We've got 4 grays. But those two look pretty similar. The lightest gray we have So they're just the nested site talking about the different grays. Oh, that's a different PPU. We're missing those two grays. Well, I don't care about versus system. Okay. Yeah, that 3D does look the lightest here. I want to see it on actual NES, but if we're going for the lightest gray, it's probably that 3D. And those 2D and 0 are similar too. So that's the problem, is there's 4 grays, but there isn't really. So what about those? But so the darkest gray is 2D. Followed up by 0. So those are really close. And then we have 2 darker ones and 2 lighter ones. We have, well, I mean, gray's gray. Anyway, they look the same, but maybe they're not that bad. So this one is 1, 0. And the lightest gray is 3D. Yeah, so 2D, 0. And then 1, 0, and 3D. So we've got 4 grays. Really, we want 3. What we want is two of the lighter, two for the bricks, and a dark for the background. But we want contrast in the bricks, so we're stuck picking between a light, one from here and one from here. So let's do this. So we have dark, light, and medium light, as far as our thinking goes. And so the bricks, we want a medium, dark, and the lightest. Medium, dark, 0, 0. For this wall, plank, block, I've got 38. selected. And then 17 for the brown. We need a gray. But do we care which? Yeah, we do. We want this gray, and that's where things look funny. If this gray does not match this gray, it looks dumb. And that's where I think our issue here is. We want this gray zero zero, medium dark gray. And then, yeah, so I think that'll fix us when we re-import it. When we rebuild it. Okay. And then we want our darkest gray for the drywall. As far as our assignments, somewhat arbitrary. But we'll call the darkest gray the entry 1 of the palette. And so that'll be 2D. Then we have a brown for the studs. And we need a light brown. The brown also shows up in the ladder. And then we need a gray. We need a light gray for the ladder and the bustable blocks. We used the lightest gray here, so we could try medium or the lightest gray to some degree. I don't know or don't care. So medium is 1-0. Lightest gray is 3D. And we'll call our brown yeah, that's not how we built it here. We put the brown as the last index, and we can change that now that we have a more defined process, but we're just going to stick with what we've got for now. That brown is 7. Okay, so let's make sure we got this right in NES Screen Tool. So it appears we were actually using this third palette for the background, the wall and the studs. For these, we want 2D darkest gray. We've got it. And then we want either the medium or the light, medium light or light. And right now we've got lightest gray, 3D. So this palette's proper. This one's good. Now our wood, this is the issue. This is where I wonder why, well, yeah. So the reason we don't, it boils down to we want 3 grays. So the reason that we don't have these bricks being the same palette as here is because we want that different gray. So, and I think this is our block palette. Are we actually using this one anywhere? Oh, the ladders are wrong. Okay, so we're not using this index right now. We've got to replace the ladders using a different palette. There. So now the ladder is the same. And our brick is going to be medium dark. It's color 00 and lightest gray 3D, which is that one. Okay. So we can fix issue here. Okay. We don't actually have these guys in there yet. But we're not going to worry about that. So this is screen 13.3. Yeah, 3 or 3.13 rather. Rev 2. Save it. All right, and let's import it to our code. So palettes. Yeah, let's do it. I think this is used down here when we Okay. So there's our name table. In our palette, export name table. Save name table and attributes. In the source graphics as a .h RLE packed H file, I think so. Called it rev2. And then patterns. We didn't actually change them. I don't know if it's going to sense the makefile can tell that we changed that stuff. Oh. Make is still. I'm surprised it takes that much power. Ow. So we kind of did it, but it still doesn't. Why does that gray in the background look so light? Let's look at I'm gonna open this in FCUX for now, just because I don't want the game to. I suppose I can. No, I'll still hear it. You guys might not, but all right. None of my associations are. So the gray of these bricks is like we wanted. That sure looks orangey. Anyway. There's our pink in there. Yeah, so it's saying that this is palette. Oh, it's palette number. Does this not tell me the color? Maybe Messin does. That's not well. Let's see. Messin's got something. I know it does. Where do I see the... Guess I just don't know what I'm doing with Messin here. I was pretty sure there's... Do these grays agree? Darkest 2D, yeah. 103D. Anyway. It's got the light gray loaded up in this last palette. Why is it doing that? Regardless of the fact that that brown shirt, that I wonder if my code's changing something, because that... Oh, no. I feel like that's not the right... I think it's my code doing something. Let's do this. I don't really trust my code right now. Make palette 2 the same. So this one's actually using a different palette. I think there's some palette effects in my current project that are killing things, so we want to hunt for the bug after we confirm that I'm not being stupid here. because that whole palette appears to be shifted or something. Maybe not. Yeah. So those look the same. Is it? Oh. The way it looks in the emulator is that gray 2D is lighter than 0. 2D is lighter than 0. Unless I... Why is this? I mean, they're close, but they sure don't look close in the emulator. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, makes me want to do my own. Gosh, there's no way. No, that's not what I want. I feel stupid. Here's somebody's talking about grays. I feel like I recognize this dude's name. Oh. Atelatur Batu, something like that. That's he's a graphics artist for Macromages, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Butchering his name. Okay. Here he's talking about grays. The color 1D particular. Oh. Because it looks like black. Yeah, that's not the one we're looking at. Same difference there. I don't know. Maybe it's just... Maybe it's not actually... Maybe it's an illusion. Because of what colors is next to it. Maybe that's why I'm let's go. Let's do this. Paint's probably not the place to do this, but 2D sure looks darker. And 10 in 3D, dang near the same. So let's do this. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just come back to it. I feel like I'm doing something stupid and have something completely mixed up. Yeah, MorphCat's artist. Yep. I recognize his avatar for Twitter and everything. So it's just gray, Paul. It's just gray. Anyway, this brick palette. We don't have to keep importing and redoing this. Should be able to just hack it. Should be, but I don't trust anything I'm doing now. Well, and maybe something funky going on with the exporting of NES screen tool. Let's check this out here. So this palette export. So 0F. So that's their background. And then 00, 3D, and then my pink, 25. And then the planks is 0F again. Everyone starts with 0F. And then we got 0, 17, and 38. And then we got 2D, 3D, 7. 2D, 3D, 7. I'm starting to PP viewer. Where do you see the V? Where is the PPU viewer? Am I just blind? Someone's got a link for me here. If anybody knows how you pull up the PP viewer in Messen, seen clear of us doing it. I didn't even think about how we were just doing it, but so I'm gonna check out this link. Why can I not see this? Oh, this chat is. What is going on with this browser version of Twitch? Oh, what? I'm not sure how that's going to help me. The HTML color codes. Okay, so open the debugger first. Okay. Then it's one of the extra windows. There we go. Just trying to verify that the colors are what I programmed them to be and somehow mess it up. Come on then, look. So yeah, 7. For dark brown. Wait, what? The wall. It's a dark gray, 2D. Well, that's not what's in there at all. Yeah. I think there's something going on with code because according to this, it's palette 10 that's loaded up. So I think somewhere in here so I'm setting the palettes for both the background and the sprites to that. Setting the banks, turn the PP on. Anyway, I don't somehow it's not getting set right. Let's open this. Or it's getting set but then stomped. Oh. So debugger is running. Yeah. 7, 2D, 3D, and 7. So 7's right. But 2D and 3D are not getting loaded like I told it to. In either one of them. Anyway, I've got something going on there. Why can't I? Let's just do this. I can load pink. Yes, yes, pink is there. 25. Color 25. Just like I told it to. I want to load color 2D. That's all I want. So instead of $25, 1 bit, or not 1 bit, but maybe. Anyway, instead of 25 pink, 20D. Yeah, Control P brings up the PPU viewer. Spin checker saying missed one part of the stream, but if you just want to test the color emulator, Messin allows you to change color in real time. Oh, beautiful. That's why you guys are here. What did I want? 2D and then 1, 0. Okay. I think it built. Oh, that was this. I think I changed the sprite palette, not the. Hmm. Do I have to run it? Maybe. Is it? Okay. There. So yeah, something in my code's messed up, but this is super has to run the change, and yeah, it's something with those library functions, or it's something I'm doing. I don't know, but my colors aren't what they, so I'm not crazy. It's just I've got some bug going on. But I like this. Fancy change the colors in here. Well, in NES screen tool is just as easy, but the palettes or the colors are a little different, which is more accurate, but maybe I'll at some point flash this weekend or something. I'll flash this over to a cartridge and look at some of these colors on the NES to see what I think about them. But looking at these bricks here and messing, these bricks basically look white and gray. Which is dumb. Oh yeah, that's white. What? It's supposed to be, so the brick palette is supposed to be 0. I got other palettes that are messing up too. I wonder if they're, anyway. So I said 3D. 0 and 3D, and then the wall and studs. Okay, so this is the wall. The planks are supposed to be 0, 17, and 38, and then the cyans are supposed to be 1C, 2C, and 30. And that was just the stripe that I did to. So that actually looks good. That was what we wanted. The bricks look gray. Video size. So we do have 3 different grays. Hacking through messing, which is my new favorite emulator. I just need to get better at it. Anyway, I like that color plan. I question I think that's the best brown we're gonna get. It just looks kind of orangey. And that's definitely not pukey, or it is pukey. Let's do this. Yeah, select is supposed to pause the music. It's not debounced or whatever. I got some issue there. It does, but anyway. My make process is still slamming this i7. Not completely, but enough. I don't know if you guys are seeing pauses for a few seconds when I build or not, but it should be better than the Celeron, but it's still, I'm surprised it uses all of my seriously? It just doesn't, it's hard to believe. Maybe there's some setting I can tell Make to use fewer cores. I just have a hard time imagining that it really is, because I'm going from 40% utilization using 60 anyway. No music. I manually hacked my palettes and now that's messed up, but anyway, I've got to figure that bug out. We got things. We've got a palette plan. So it would probably be good for me to convert the, well, part of it is if this, so where's this, like this gray that shows up twice in the brick palette, medium dark, and then the wall plank. But so there, this medium dark color, I'm converting over to the same index 1, so that should translate over fine. It's just going to be an issue if I have the same color defined as two different indices and two different NES palettes. That's where I'll get into trouble, I guess. But if I don't do it, if I pay attention and not do that, well, and I guess some of these bricks use brown. It's dark brown. But we might also want it for white if we don't necessarily want to rely on that cyan palette. We could put a white there I kind of like leaving it open. Let's look. These guys is what I was wondering about. These look kind of nice with this brown. And they could use a different palette. They're 4. They could use the same palette as the ladder. I mean, that's I guess that's the thing, is to make this another brown, then gosh, it's almost the same palette as this other one. It would be nice to have a palette. Well, we're not going to be able to do it though. With 3 browns. So what was our plan? So as we go into this next screen, we're going to have to change some of these palettes. We need a palette with 3 browns. Which is what this is, the walk plank. This guy needs a shifted dark brown. To 7. What was that all about? I don't know. What kind of computer do you have to do all this stuff? Something still hitting me up, but anyway, maybe it's GIMP. Yeah. If I do too much in GIMP, I start using it more. It's surprising. I don't know if I had a smaller file if it would matter. Anyway, this bridge is going to be the same palette as the ladder. The dirt becomes the dirt palette. Still got that brick, ladder, dirt. But we need the water can be the same as the sky. But now we want these spikies. We need a green palette for the vines. Then we're gonna have to pull some sort of magic or change the graphics here, because we've got these trees in the background. Have green on them and blue. We've definitely got 3 palettes here between green, brown, and blue. And then we want a gray slash need one. So really we kind of lose this brick palette, this wall, stud, ladder, bust block needs to also be, yeah, so, well, that kind of just blows my whole plan of wanting to have 3 different grays. And to some degree we could in this area, but when we get out of here we can't, and we don't need it. But these tiles for these bricks need to be, these bricks need to be able to switch from the 2 different palettes. It shouldn't be a significant visual change, but we can't change the palettes. So that kind of tells me that, so these bricks that show up everywhere here, we've got them using this one palette, a slightly lighter palette inside the dungeon area, just because we can, to get a 3rd gray. But when we get out here, we don't want a 3rd gray. We can't afford it. So our yeah, I guess this is why doing this now, because if I convert, well, and there's only so many of those little blockies, having them as a different tile or changing them is not that big of a deal, but I don't really want to do that. So they go from got lightest gray, medium dark, So this palette was supposed to be dark gray, dark brown, and then one of the lighter. So I'm going to have dark brown be the first index. So really these tiles will change from zero, medium, dark, and light gray. They can keep that same 3D lightest gray, but their dark gray is going to change a little bit. Not much. So this first index is unused right now. And this brick palette a green vine palette. So let's check some of these out. Oops. Is that the... Yeah, it's basically the vine. We have 3 meta tiles basically. So, oh, that's another type I guess I didn't think of. We got impassable, specials, passable. They're not all in here. But then we have owies, hurt. These ones will hurt you. Move these up here. So our vines I kind of want a scratch place that we can test some of these color ideas without fully no. Where is it? There it is. So just playing around with GIMP here. We've got our NES palette loaded up. And that's pretty much the right color for the dirt. I don't think we really have that brown, but it's going to be something like that. And then a tan like we had it actually looks like the next a tan could be 30, the orangey tan. We said 38, which is the pukey green tan. I don't know. Anyway, I wish these gave me numbers here, but I guess I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because I said 38, which is under the browns. But here it kind of looks like 37. Anyway, so I want to kind of combine somehow this fence needs to be using a similar or same pattern as the palette as the sky. That'd be an easy, you know, it's close, it has a blue, but then we also have the issue of there's green things growing on it. And we've got the sky. To worry about. Oh, I got a lot of greens to pick from. So the vines, we've got a dark green, but it almost looks bluish. Yeah, we got, shoot, 8 or 9 different greens to pick from, but some dark green, a light green, and tan. One of my ideas was to kind of make it the vines a blue or green, but maybe we go ahead and keep three greens, and then this fence uses the same greens. So we'll use this green closest to the blues. As the dark one. And then we've got some bright green. It's next to the yellows. So what's that? 19. So I said B for the dark green. And then maybe 19 for the bright. And then we can use the same tannish color as the dirt, but one of my ideas was to make it more of a gray. And if we did that, then this fence could have more of the gray, and the spikies are kind of, so the medium light gray, I think it's, yeah, so the smaller digit is the 0, or the smaller digit is the column, basically. And then the upper nibble, the lower nibble is the column, and the upper nibble is the row. So if these spikes look kind of greenish, or I mean gray, I don't know if that looks good, but then this fence can have a gray. But whoops, the fence also needs to have one of those colors and have a blue, so I don't know. It's not terrible. So TeslaRX saying U8 doesn't take hex values. 1 hex bit corresponds to 2 needs to be converted. Yeah. I'm not sure the connection there. So the only other idea is what if, and this might work okay. If the fence shared the same background as the or the same palette as the sky. Yeah, that blue looks right. One C. One, right? I said 1C, but maybe we'll use 0C. So 1C is closer to this. I think that's supposed to be 0C basically. And so these trees aren't going to necessarily, well, the trees could share the same as the, if we wanted a green tree, they could use the vine. But the vine's not really going to have a blue. But as far as the sky goes, I don't know how accurate this. That looks pretty seafoamy. What is messing, or what is yeah, 2C looks nice. I don't know. Trusting this. I suppose I could, if I find a palette I like, or there might be better palettes, NES palettes to import to GIMP. But for my analysis purposes here, it's not so great. We've got, but anyway, my idea is these, let's turn our grid on. My grid's probably not. Just look at this. So any section that has, oh, they really, who's that? Did I erase those pieces? Or the fence is just really that broken? I think it might be. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that. Unless I somehow corrupted my file here. But we can just plop in these green things growing on the fence as separate meta tiles. Oh yeah. Like this, I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. So I think the fence is just broken in some places. But anyway, we can drop some green thingies with the same palette as the vines, but then the rest of the fence can use the sky palette. So I don't like the choice in so it's sky, water, and fence. So I have a dark blue and a cyan will be the fence. The vine can go ahead and have its tan pricklies. So this will either be 37 or 38. Tan. The fence is going to be 2 shades of blue. It's not really going to be a gray. It's going to be the same blue as the clouds here, but that's okay. Trees will either be all blue like that guy using the background or the sky, or they can be green like the vines. Our little wet wishing well has got to be, we'll be able to have the brown for the top as the dirt and the gray. One thing we are not going to be able to do we can't have some grass. We just can't do it exactly like they did. So here there's some brown rock that pops up. That's not going to work. We'd have to have some space there. And here there's a little shred of grass. But that's just a matter of rearranging things to abide. This ladder is more pallets than we got. The ladder is going to have to use the dirt palette, but that's not too bad. It's a brown ladder, not a red ladder. Which brown? 17. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, it's gonna be kind of orangey. So it's dirt and ladder. The red-orange ladder is going to have to become brown. But that dirt color is kind of orangey anyway, so the dirt's kind of becoming orange. Anyway, they gotta use the same palette. Okay. Same with these blocks here, they're gonna use the dirt palette. So does that cover Forsaken Valley pallets? This rope fence here. Would be the dirt palette. Except we have this issue. Oh shoot, and the background's blue. Yeah, that's not gonna be so great. It'll have to be it's gonna break some rules and have to fix it by having just black background behind the rope ladder, I guess. Rope bridge is a problem. This first row is gonna have to bricks has to be the same pattern, the same attribute table, same palette. So there's going to be some brown showing up in these bricks. And then same with, here's our grids. Quicker to turn them on and off than zoom around, but yeah, the background being blue is messed up. But I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal to... Why won't you let me paint? And do the thing. I'm like selected somewhere wrong. just going to have to kind of be. I'm going to have her. So these are all going to have to be, which doesn't look too bad. No, that's okay. Yeah, so our attribute table split is going to make it here too. And maybe we can work some magic to make it massage the art. But our fence is going to look something like that. Taking up. But, you know, I don't know. I do that. Have some things dangling down from the bottom or something, I don't know. Rethink something. I don't know. See, look at this. There's got this cutout. I guess it looks like a shadow. Anyway, the rope bridge is going to be a problem. One idea would be to just bring in some tree line early. And it's black. And you scroll down to the screen, it's black up here. Some mountains show up again. You know, just kind of rethink it. So the only other thing, so we have these indoor areas, but they're the same dark gray and brown as the drywall. So I think that palette plan is gonna work out. These blocks here, these wooden chunks are gonna end up with some gray in them instead of dark brown, but that's okay. Anyway, I think I'm probably gonna call it a night here. So we've got we've got our palette plan, and I'm pretty confident it works for all of the Forsaken Valley. I guess these areas are Forsaken Valley too, but I think they are. It's all the same type of stuff. We have these buildings, but this is just gonna have to be dirt palette, brown palette, yeah. So everything that we've sorted out should work. These trees are probably not going to have leaves on them, or figure something else out, but anyway. Forsaken Valley is mostly good to go in terms of color planning, and I've got some bug to sort out in my code. Loading those palettes up, we have an importing method working to some degree. We can start working on bringing in these tiles direct from the map they gave us, and have them imported to things that can be made in NES Screen Tool or work with some other screen editor, tiled or something. I still haven't learned my way around that, but making some good progress here. So you guys have a good night, and hopefully it'll be warmer next time. Bye.